Somebody take pictures. All right, welcome everybody. We're here doing the live stream thing, experiment heuristic thing. Um, Out on the steps of the Civic Arts Church in the intersection of Washington Park and Inglewood. Um, Happy Halloween, if you do that thing. I don't, but we celebrate it. We embrace it. We're out here in the outside of a church that is a shell of a church that used to be an anchor and root in the neighborhood um, from 1920 on. And the thing is, where we have recently gotten the green light to move forward with the transformation of this church and activation of it. So we're calling it the Civic Arts Church, through a collaboration through art, workforce development, neighborhood development stuff, regenerative neighborhood development. Wow, live, it happens. So, one of the things we're looking at is having a series of cross pollination of our programming from partnerships with Smart Museum at the University of Chicago. It is a great opportunity to extend the program we've already done at the Thought Barn with the Think Do House and the Commonwealth, with Inigo Mangalino Ovalle. We were looking at the Well Initiative and the Commonwealth, Wellness at the Commonwealth, which we live streamed last week. So here we are, take two. As an extension of that, looking at a collaboration with another MacArthur Fellow, Mel Chin, and on the 12th anniversary of the Fundred Bill Project. You want to talk about TCC and Towards a Common Cause?
Hi all, it's nice to see you today, although I can't really see you, but we're glad everybody's here with us. This is the second Toward Common Cause initiative that is taking root at the Sweetwater Foundation campus. So Toward Common Cause is an exhibition that will take place next year in the summertime, which celebrates the 40th anniversary of the MacArthur Fellows Program. And as part of that project, we're working with artists who have an investment in social justice and environmental justice. And two of those artists are Inigo Manglano Ovalle, as we mentioned, who's installed a project in the Thought Barn called Wellness at the Commonwealth. And this is going to be the site, the Civic Arts Church, of a sculptural installation by Mel Chin, which will be a permanent installation of a safe house door, which will cap off more than a decade of the Fundred Initiative, which Mel started 12 years ago in New Orleans, today with the installation of a safe house door in a house in New Orleans. So we're thrilled to be able to mark this anniversary with Mel, even though he's not able to be here physically, and to celebrate this partnership, ongoing partnership with Sweetwater. So what we're gonna see next, oh yeah, hold on.
So it's also important to state, as historical record, what we do is not about art just to do art. What we do is actually for art, for transformation and revitalization for that neighborhood. That's a regenerative aspect. So this collaboration in particular has meant so much to us because it becomes a reactivation of a space that used to be an anchor, that was the root of a neighborhood, that was a historic icon for our neighborhood, like the Black Church used to be. And then what's happening is it's the reactivating it from the inside to then find its way to activate from the outside back, so we can restore and regenerate, like Sankofa style, reach back to be present, to move forward. So this act of opening up on this day and celebrating this can then push forward as we start the restoration and regeneration and remembering. So we're starting the process of how do we link this to education, art, workforce development that means something for this neighborhood, as something that can translate around the country. Because how many different historic shells of buildings we have in neighborhoods that are poor, black, disinvested, what have you, that need this the right activation point. So with that, we're looking at the rebirth, renew, regenerate. All right.
So what we're going to see next is a word from Mel. You'll see next is a word from Mel. He's going to introduce you to the project. Then we'll see a short film which documents the history of the Fundred Initiative. And then a little bit of a film of the work that Mel did this summer with teens from the Smart summer program and the summer program at SkyART in South Chicago. And then we will ceremonially open the doors to the church, and everybody who's made a Fundred as part of that project will start the collection of Fundreds in Chicago, which we hope will one day number in the thousands by the time this exhibition opens in July of next year. And thanks for being here with us.
It's a deep honor to be part of the opening ceremonies here at the Civic Arts Church, part of Sweetwater Foundation in Chicago, Illinois. It's been a long journey. It started 12 years ago, exactly 12 years ago to this day, in New Orleans, Louisiana. We discovered this problem, this thing that we couldn't see called lead that was affecting people, especially children where they lived in New Orleans. Over the 12-year span, we've discovered it's in every major city. It appears in the United States, and especially within these neighborhoods in Chicago. It's in the homes, in the old paint, it's in the water, it's in the soil, and most problematic, it's within the blood, brains, and bones of human beings. But we couldn't see it, very much like other things that we can't see. And we needed something to represent the fight against it, the hope against it. And that's when the $100 bill was invented. And the $100 bill is a simple project. It's a drawing project where everybody has an opportunity to draw one image or one representation of a $100 bill, a Benjamin of their own making. A $100 bill that we would collect, and only one per person, like a vote, that we would collect as their voice or their investment so that it could be valued in changing the minds of those who have the possibility to transform the situation. So, what is the sign above us that has the state turtle, painted turtle, and the tiger salamander holding up the scroll that says, "Bill for Ill"? That means it's actually a bill for Illinois. And that bill could be your drawing, your individual drawing of a $100 bill that we will collect and preserve and protect after you donate it. You will be part of a collection of 500,000 drawings that come from all over the country. It was collected over a 21,000 mile journey with an armored truck that took us all over the place to eventually come to here, Chicago. Because again, you have that problem here in your homes as well. So we see it as an opportunity to close the project and bring it to a culmination with the support of your drawn money. Your money, your value is more than anything that we probably could collect, because it is your creativity, your future, and being represented by you. It is your voice that we want to represent. And we want to represent it and protect it and hold it within the Civic Arts Church and then within our Federal Reserve, and so that it's actually the Fundred Reserve, not federal. But we want to hold it and protect it so we can bring your voice to represent the value you have to change it, the actual bill that might be about to make your community lead safe. So this project is meaningful because it has the other part that is the hope that we want to project and make real, and that is to heal this community and thereby communities all over the country. That the bill for ill that could start here near the ending of a whole long project that is the beginning of a healing of cities and places all over the country. So this is a big project that begins, thankfully, here in Chicago. That begins so we can really bring about the beginning of your healing and the healing of cities all across the country. So I'm very encouraged to be here, and I only represent your interest in this project and your value and your hope, and I'm committed to do that amongst the whole team of the Fundred Bill Project. I want to thank you for having me here at the Civic Arts Church and allowing the Bill for Ill to be here for the time we have. So I look forward to your contribution to the Fundred Bill Project, and we have a film that you'll watch that can fill you in on the 12 years that we've been around. And you can decide to donate, draw, and then decide to donate it if you wish, your contribution. We can only promise to protect it and deliver it and begin this whole project all over. Thank you. Bye-bye. And I'll see you soon in real life in Chicago. Bye-bye.
What's happening here today?
Oh, well, today we're having a Fundred fair, sort of, and we're doing Fundred. We did them in school, and they were really fun, and it's for a good cause. In Louisiana, in New Orleans, they have lead in the soil, and it's affecting most of the kids.
Hurricane Katrina happens, and Mel is in New Orleans along with a number of artists looking at what they can do in the city to respond to the magnitude of Hurricane Katrina.
What do you really need at that time to transform the city of New Orleans that had 30 to 50% of the inner city childhood population poisoned with lead before Katrina? What do? You need money. And then you realize there's no funds allocated for the relief of that. And they already know it exists. So the idea was to make money.
Here. It's going to be sent to the Congress, and it's going to be asked to turn into real money to help get solutions.
If you're going to have hundreds, then you need a bank vault.
This house on North Villeray Street in St. Roch looks a little out of place. The Safe House, as creator Mel Chin calls it, is home to hundreds of fundreds, drawings of $100 bills by students from New Orleans and around the country. The plan is to put them all in this armored car and drop them off in Washington.
First day I met Mel, he said, would you be interested in participating with us with this lead problem with the safe? I said, yeah, I would love to. And all the kids said, oh, they're going to have a safe. They're going to have money in it. No, they're not going to have money. You all going to make money and put it on the wall.
And so the Safe House was important to almost a surrealist kind of thing about a very real concern about cash being drawn by kids and adults that was more valuable than real currency. Then you have to show you care enough to go from Mississippi to Texas to Idaho or Wyoming, 20,000 miles, pick up some of this cash. And you needed an armored truck. It's always about the money that it would take for Congress to create an act that could alleviate lead from our society.
Tell me all about these costumes and how they came about.
They just represent the $100 bill, our own creations.
Some of us are poisoned by the grounds we play on, the houses we live in, and the air we breathe. What's up with that?
Mel's idea for the project very early on was that it would be viral.
Everyone in my whole neighborhood drew one.
And in a sense it was, in that, we had conversations with educators, and they took it upon themselves to share it with their networks of educators. Teachers were reporting their accounting to us on a monthly basis. We were tracking the Fundreds.
The houses we live in, and the air we breathe. What's up with that?
Everyone in my whole neighborhood drew one. It's only one per person, so we need lots of people to participate.
So after the 2012 near elimination of funding for lead prevention for the CDC, we all retreated to Mel's studio in rural North Carolina and spent a few days really reflecting on the processes and lessons learned. We started to see greater potential to connect people not just to lead issues in New Orleans, but to connect to their own lead issues. And that then informed the next several years of the Fundred project, where it was true that the project was still committed to dealing with lead in New Orleans, but that the opportunity for engaging the Fundred project was a way to talk about lead issues in your own community, wherever you are. And then in 2015, the Flint water crisis happens.
See if the camera picks this up. See that? Yellow.
Again, shifting the way the project worked and what it could do. Our role had changed, and as a project that engages collaborators of all kinds, we really saw the value of partnering with the lead poisoning prevention community, and that's advocates, that's health departments, that's people working on a very local, state, and national level.
Those are real people behind those Fundreds, real children, real stories, real lives, and people need to see that.
You have to respect that every Fundred that was drawn needed to be represented in a proper way. So it takes a team of individuals and organizations.
The team has been expanding to really dynamic people who have so many connections with the community and continue Fundred's work in the eradication of lead poisoning on a national scale.
We really tried to think about how to bring in some larger partners and to really bring the Fundred project, some national scope and some presence in DC.
When Collab was introduced to Mel's work and really seeing how he was using artistry as a tool for social justice and agency and really capitalizing on storytelling, there was no way we could not be involved with the Fundred project.
After the evolution of the project, where we saw the power of the people's expression having value in this fight against being poisoned by lead, we felt the more provocative initiative would be to be at the place itself in DC in order to leverage the Fundred's voice to actually show their value to the people they represent. So it's easy to say, but much harder to do.
The Fundred project is a perfect intersection between art and activism, social justice, social change, personal activations, and group and community building. It's an amazing opportunity to connect people that are affected by lead poisoning and affecting lead policy.
Fundred has given me a voice, given me a platform to actually join into the fight.
So everybody was spun into their own action, and everybody was essential.
There's a long history. There's a lot of positive accomplishments for the project. They'd been all over the country by that point, but there was really just an honest willingness to want to do better. What does it look like to really deliver the Fundreds to DC in a variety of creative ways? Going to a Hill visit, with a briefcase full of creative cash in your hand, it adds a different element to it.
The Fundred is a way to cross all party lines and try to bring some common sense and decency into this. We've been coming here for the past 3.5 years since we knew just how bad our water was. And we've been asking for help, asking for money, asking for resources.
If we don't have clean water to live, people can get sick.
For a concentrated effort around these
other cities. So it won't just be Flint.
One of our most impactful moments was in 2017. And House Minority Leader at the time, Nancy Pelosi, personally came to see the Fundreds and speak to our attendees.
For you to use the arts as a way to raise the awareness of it and attract attention is so important. We owe these children so much more, and you're leading the way to help us recognize that. So I thank you for that. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
I have been following the Fundred project for a few years. You know, Mel and I have always talked about the possibility of collaborating at some point. So this project actually looks at race and environmental justice like very clearly with the work that Mel's been doing over the last 11 years. And we're just happy to have it here in our space.
It's impactful seeing the young men who created the original Fundreds over a decade ago take ownership of the project, carry their stories and the stories of other young people, and present that to elected officials like Rashida Tlaib, who's on the forefront of justice.
Okay, I'm sure he'll be familiar, but he may not. And you got the red lead map.
Yes.
That's all we need. I don't need to know more.
We became aware of a bill that has been in committee, the Lead Safe Housing for Kids Act. So we lent our support of the Fundred project behind this act because it's one more thing that can be done that actually can make impact across the country.
My grandson Wayne and Byron Lewis Jr., they had a wonderful time. And I'm glad they did, and I'm glad I was able to bring them out here to experience this.
Yes, I'll talk about it. It's not been, it's hard for all of us, you know.
Right.
You could talk about any troubles your family had.
We met with dozens of representatives' offices for residents from Flint, New Orleans, Cincinnati, Omaha, Queens, and we were invited to meet with now House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. We visited her ceremonial congressional office, and she met with residents of New Orleans and Flint.
It made me feel so good when she came over and she shook my hand and she said such wonderful words.
It's so, what you're talking about is so important. It shouldn't even be a question. Welcome to the Capitol, everyone.
Thank you.
It's all about a process. This is one more step that we need to make. It's one more step that may lead to the alleviation of the goal. That's all it's about. It's not done, is how I feel. It's not done till the blood is clean of children being born in these places. That's when it's done.
Oh, at first I thought it was real.
Yeah.
It's real.
It looks. I mean, I see the trees.
Yeah. Coolio.
I don't see no face on. Oh, I see a face on the front.
Oh, wait. David, hold yours up.
All right.
Nice. I love that. Ooh.
Thank you.
Is that a cabin?
Oh, that's a complimentary color to your hair. Dang. That's cool. You want the real green.
Infinity.
Dig.
Very deep.
All right. You're saying it.
Ooh.
All right. That's your home.
The replica of downtown.
There you got it.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Nice. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Got the devil. All right. What? Sketch. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love the rainbow people.
Yay. Dig it. Beautiful. Great.
Cool mask too.
Yep. That mask, yeah. That mask goes with those horns. Uh-oh. Dig it. The joy of painting. Dig.
That's giving me Bob Ross vibes.
All right. Dig. Small feet. Cool.
Yes. That was a, whoa, look at that.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay. I think we're live. Okay. And go.
Hello, my name is Andrew Brandon, and this is my Fundred. This one was originally made during the start of the protests around the U.S. The front says "to lie and enslave," which was kind of a statement that I kind of created out of kind of anger and frustration. And the back is more of type of peaceful scene, as opposed to the more chaotic and aggressive scene. Just giving the best of both worlds. And the protest actually kind of gave me a bit of a shakeup because it was a few issues that I have been through, being harassed by police, pulled off to the side by authorities, things like that. But hopefully there will be a change, and hopefully we'll see some shakeups in our systems, and we'll see, how things roll.
Make sure to speak up to the camera, please. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jaden Roundtree, and I'm here to speak about my Fundred that I drew for Mel Chin and his fight against lead in drinking water in cities and even in public schools. I believe that lead being in our drinking water is a hazard. It's not only a hazard, but it's also a danger to our way of living daily. And I wouldn't want that to be contaminating my home that I drew on my Fundred. And that was the inspiration for my Fundred, was to draw my home and to show people that don't let lead don't let lead populate our drinking water and populate our homes. Thank you.
You can leave your mask on or not, but just like, you don't have to talk about the phone as a whole, so you don't have to stay in front of the whole time, but like, at least it was really positive. Front and back. Front and back, exactly, yeah, that's great. Good luck.
Hi, my name is Sinkay, and I am a fourth year public policy major at the University of Chicago, and I am also a research assistant at the Smart Museum. This is my Fundred. On the front of it, you can see my face and the number 423, $423.99. That's when I was born, April 23rd, 99. And on the back, you can see my house on the south side of Chicago, and on my Fundred, I actually wrote the south side of Chicago and some numbers and letters that say you are important to me. And this Fundred project, created by Mel Chin is really important to me because it's talking about lead. And I, being from the south side of Chicago, I'm very I care a lot about the environmental issues that are impacting my majority minority and low income communities that are clustered on the south and west sides of Chicago. I'm studying urban and environmental studies, and I can see the impacts of historical disinvestment on communities and how environmental injustice has degraded the quality of communities. So this is something that's really important to me. Talking about these issues is really important to me, and having some type of future impact on the health, vitality of my community is really important to me. So I hope my Fundred represents that in some way. Thank you.
I had to guess. Hello, what's up? My name is Nick Jackson, and this is my Fundred. I wanted to come here to participate and engage this idea that art can directly affect and impact the lives of others and the well-being of others. What we can do to strengthen the society that we live in through art and through culture and through direct engagement with individuals who may not be able to advocate for their own needs. People like Mel Chin, people like Emmanuel Pratt go out of the way to provide systems of both support and the allocation of resources and the advocacy of better lives for everybody. The Fundred project specifically revolves around heavy metals in the soil and lead in the drinking water, and bringing these representative bills in front of legislators and people who can make a difference from the top down just as much as we can make a difference by advocation from the ground up. I just really want to see more done to support individuals in need, and just what can we do to help those around us in a way that contributes not only to their well-being, but to the societal zeitgeist and our environment as a whole.
Is no one in here?
That camera right there.
Oh, I'm supposed to do it by myself?
Yep, yeah. So just come stand sort of right on that grate, look at the camera, and do your thing, and then you'll go pin it up on the board. Okay?
But that makes it even more confusing. What? Wait.
So just right there, yep. And then hold it up, and you can talk. You can take your mask down.
Just talk?
Just right here in the camera.
Like that? Wait.
Exactly what you were just gonna say.
Okay. This is weird. Okay. I made this Fundred because it's supposed to represent an infinite dollar bill. So I have a pyramid on it, which is supposed to be like a replica of the Eye of Providence that's on the dollar bill, and it's supposed to represent like longevity and strength. So it made sense to put it on the infinite bill, and I just sketched a temple on the back in the mountains. That's it.
That's it, and then you can grab a push pin there and tack it up.
Okay, good. I told him you were going to do it. He said, oh.
What's that?
I told him you were going to speak today. He said, cute. Oh, that's cute. No. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So this is your camera, so you can just sort of stand sort of between the two grates, sort of thing.
Oh, right over here. Okay. And hold this up. Hi, my name is Shatara Nally, and I serve as a...
No, your voice.
Oh, hi everyone. My name is Shatara Nally, and I serve as a youth program specialist at the Chicago Housing Authority. Today, my Fundred represents a foundation that also looks like a structured building. So these bricks represent layers and foundation and solid structure, which is what I care most about, which is community building. And so it's great to be in a space today like we are here in Washington Park, where we're at the Sweetwater Museum, where the staff and people around us are building up the community, helping out residents in the area. We're also providing youth opportunities and allowing everyone to come into the community and build and also gain resources as we connect opportunities to everybody and extend it throughout the city of Chicago. So I just wanted to share my interest in this structure and let you know how they connected to my personal interests. So I do care about the community, and I hope we continue to build up the city of Chicago. So thank you.
And then go take a
Check.
push pin
Check,
over
check,
there
check.
and tack it up.
Check. It should be on. It says on. Yeah.
Sorry?
Okay, you hear me?
Francis Chris,
Okay.
here. Just for a second, then you can go back to watching shows. Your turn is going to be next. Remember, Papa's going to hold you up. I'll say something and you say, I'm Soren, and I don't want anyone to get sick from lead. Okay? Or I'm Soren and I drew this because I don't want anyone to get sick from lead. Okay?
That's cool.
Hi, I'm Jason Pallas. I'm the manager for community engagement and arts learning at the Smart Museum. This is my son Soren. He's been with the teens and Mel Chin in weekly meetings for the last 7 months, so he's very familiar with them and these issues. And he's drawn a Fundred as well. You say your name, what you did,
My name is Soren.
and what did you draw?
This is a picture of my house, and on the other guy, this is one of my Ninja TV asked me to draw about.
And say, I don't want anyone to get sick from lead.
And I don't want to get any funny sick from this.
All right.
I want to Papa, where's the kid? You want me to go eat a little kid?
Good. That was the last one, Nick.
Papa, now can I keep watching?
Yeah, you want to keep watching? I'm going to come to it. I'm coming.
Or I can do piano practice.
Here you go, babes. Here you go, babes. You can play piano, you can do whatever, as long as you're safe.
Okay, so we got 2 more coming in. You over here? All right, so it's always special when we get a chance to actually, during this kind of COVID thing, to actually be in person, because a lot of what we've been doing has had to be remote and not in person. So I'm gonna figure out how to position myself for this, because this is all experiments. Should we do the introduction thing, or are we just keeping a general conversation? No. All right. What I will do is just briefly, if you could frame up the nature of the Smart engagement with the teens, if you could frame up what we've done in the past and why you're here, and then we'll open it up to a conversation about what you do, what you've been doing with the Hunt Fundred, and why is it important. All right.
Oh, you're gonna, okay. Okay, so this is this group of folks participating in the Smart Summer Intensive, Art and Community Engagement. And what we've really been doing is working with Toward Common Cause, the artists Mel Chin and Angelica Nkunyili Crosby. And this group of students is responsible across the course of the coming year for a community engagement strategy in advance of Toward Common Cause. So they've gotten to know those artists' work really well, and then their sort of charge and challenge this coming year is to then translate that into programming, events, and materials that would invite a wider range of people into the work, authentically themselves, to really make art accessible, to make it relevant, and to make it engaging. And that's they're doing a brilliant job of that.
All right, so in the past we've had the opportunity to talk about why this work is important. Art, but also just neighborhood revitalization, workforce development, skills, all that education, all linked up into one thing. So if you could introduce yourself, and I'm gonna do the distance.
Sure. Thank you. My name is Shatara Nowling. I serve as a youth worker for the city of Chicago. More importantly, like you mentioned, the work that we do is not only to build our communities and build art, but it's also to make sure that we have young people who are engaged in revitalizing our communities. And we had the opportunity to do that with the Sweetwater Foundation last year. So we connected our young people to programming. Emmanuel and his team gave our young people an incredible hands-on opportunity to delve into architecture and some agriculture. So it's important that we just connect our young people, give them some meaning to what they're doing, and make sure that they're building skills that can actually carry them throughout life and help them kind of make this work that we do more important than what we think it is, but it's also helpful for them to just build skills in that way. So I think that's mainly why we do the work that we do here today. I'm here to support these young people, and I'm also to support our community builders as well. So that's why I'm here.
You know, so one reason why I appreciate both of that introduction is because it's real important that we can be somewhat hopeful for a future right now. Like, for real, like, what is there to look forward to? And what I appreciate about the Bill for Ill concept, or the Fundred, is that it holds some people accountable, say, like, we got to get this stuff right. You got lead in the soil, we got lead in the water. What are we going to do about it? And also, it also challenges the concept of what currency is. It's not just about dollars. Those dollars are available, but they're not being used the right way to support the right neighborhoods that need it. We know this. You ready? Can you introduce yourself and then talk about your relationship to Fundred or any of the projects?
Hello, my name is Andrew Brandon. I've been with the SMART program for over 4 years now. So last summer, I worked with Emmanuel and other teams to break down and reuse old CPS furniture, so chairs, tables, things of that nature, and recreated them into sculptures and different artworks. Um, so being able to be hands-on and actually learn skills like that, it meant a lot to me, and I'm sure the other teams that were in the program. And it's a lifelong skill. And this year's program, working with Mel Chin to actually bring about and bring up topics that are important and endangering to communities, specifically Black and Brown communities. So it means a lot to me and to everybody else who's worked with the program to be able to be a part of something bigger than all of us. So yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Anybody else? You want to say anything? You want to say anything?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm Nick Jackson. I'm the teen programs coordinator with the Smart Museum. Similar to what Andrew kind of touched on in terms of being able to attach yourself to a project that's larger than you are. I mean, the capacity of a lot of people in these neighborhoods who lack the proper resources to advocate for themselves in terms of their environment, you know, heavy metals in the soil, lead in the water. These are things that could be solved, and as you said, there's money for it, but who decides where that money goes? How can you create an environment where people who are the most in need get the resources that they want? Through this kind of collective action, through this kind of collective advocacy, we can contribute to improving the lives of those around us, improving the lives of those most in need, because oftentimes those most in need have the quietest voice, and not by their own design.
So that also, you bring up a great point. I mean, this is a shell of a building. What does it look like it was? Coming your way. What does it look like it was?
A church.
How important were churches to our communities?
Very, especially to Black and Brown communities, because it gives them faith and hope in getting the resources and things they actually need to survive and move on.
So what signal does it send out that we got this sitting empty, or if you got another one over here that's boarded up and another one over there that used to be a house or it gets torn down, what signal does that send to the community or to you as the future?
That essentially you should just give up hope, but you actually shouldn't.
You know you got to expand on that. Why not?
We shouldn't give up on hope because we shouldn't give up on hope or have hope or having faith, period, because that's what keeps us going and keeps us thriving and keeps us moving on in life, and that's what motivates us to do the things that helps uplifts our communities.
So what I appreciate about these connections also is that, like, here we are in an empty lot that used to be something at one point in history, right? There's all these empty lots that just need to be activated. And so for us, it's like a liminal space. It's like a dream space. You activate it like this. The act of being here in wood that was being tossed and thrown away, that we could then build a chair, build a table, build a crate, that then we can do some art, bring some people into conversation saying, we need to do better. We can hold people accountable to do better. We know the money's out there to do better. So let's make it happen. And so one of the things that you take this shell, and it don't got to come back to life as a church. In its own way, we're trying to do this other thing that gets it to activate people's imagination. Like, imagine if this is your brain. You just stimulating your brain to just to have some ideas and visions. And by y'all all being here, we can start to frame a collective vision. And so we're sitting right next to a historic landmark. Who chooses what's historic for who? Is this historic, or is another building over there historic, and why? Why do you think it's important that people appreciate? You all right? What does it mean to you to do something like this outside, in the community, for the community?
Well, I think that, this type of development that engages the community is important, especially given the past history of Chicago and urban areas, not including minority and low-income communities in the development of their neighborhoods. I think it's really important that moving forward, we understand that history of, disinvestment that has led to these areas being blighted, and how moving forward we can create a roadmap where, community members have a stake in what's going on in their community, and we're able to learn from past mistakes. So buildings like these, that are cornerstones of the community are able to thrive, hundreds of years from now. It doesn't, recreate a cycle.
I appreciate that. That's very real. Would you, anybody else? Anybody else? Oh, yep, I'm spinning around.
So to touch on the question that you asked before you went to St. about who decides what's history and who decides what makes history, it's those in power. So those in power, since the beginning of this country, have decided what makes history, from our history books to the land we walk on. So
You telling me we don't got power?
we do have power, but it takes a spark, and we haven't had a spark in a while. We had a black president for 8 years. That was our spark. But it seems that we've kind of fallen off, and we kind of fell off of that path that we were initially on.
So what I appreciate that, and I also challenge saying it's kind of up to us too, right? There's a saying that we're the leaders that we've been waiting for, and honestly, we looking to y'all. I'm looking at y'all. Every chance that we can get to use this as a foundation to do something else should be for you. And it should be for the next generation. In First Nations, indigenous populations, there's a thing called the 7th generation principle. And you honor the fact that, like, we gotta think 7 generations ahead. So in our culture, there's Sankofa. Reach back to be present to move forward. Unfortunately, when you erase neighborhoods and communities like this over and over and over again, you erase the memory. You erase the foundation. You strip the foundation upon which you can dream. So, like, that's why, again, I appreciate this as the beginning. But if you're beginning, you cannot do this work unless you address the realities of the infrastructure, the lack of the infrastructure. Like, down the block, ain't no fire hydrants because they got taken out. Because there's no houses. They got taken out. People just think, oh, it's empty lot. Ain't nothing there. But it doesn't have to be that way. So that's part of why we do the work we do. So we look forward to continuing. It's just the continuity. So look, the chairs that you built, we've done down the block. The process of taking apart those old CPS materials that people would have thrown into the dumpster. Same thing with the pews that were in here. We're using the drill and the basic process, getting the hardware out, using the same stuff. We're taking it apart so that we can build up new infrastructure. We can build up the beginning of what's next. So part of this bill for ill is that people got to be held accountable for the neglect. But we should also think about what y'all's dreams are for the future, because this is not about us. It can't be about us. And the problem with the power is that it's been about them. We have like this select few that gets all the power that shouldn't just be. That's not for everybody. At the end of the day, we're all human. We're supposed to be. So, anything else? Yeah.
Just wanted to build on that in the sense of why these young folks are so amazing, and relate that to Mel's project, right? And sort of like, he invites anyone to do a Fundred, but specifically those that are under 18 and don't have a vote, right? So it's sort of it's an avatar, it's a stand-in, it's a way to represent the voice and the vote that they're legally without, right? And so that's sort of going back to Andrew's point about power and representation and collectivity. And what I love about the future with these 5 in particular is these are 5 of the smartest, most ambitious, wittiest, most generous people I know. And I believe in our future when I'm with them. And I believe in the issues that they believe in, right? And I want to take the cues from them rather than those folks like you're saying that currently have the power and it's sort of collected in their hands. I don't trust their vision for the present, the past, or the future. And I trust these folks. And I think that that's at the heart of Mel's project as well.
So again, the reason why I appreciate the project with Mel and then this project and initiative with Inigo is that, to be honest, this ain't a project for us. This is our lives. This ain't a project. This is our lives. Our lives are at stake. When you get lead in the soil and you get lead in the water, does anybody know what that does to your brain? So it affects how your brains work. One of the crises that they have so much in Flint and Michigan and certain, like around the world, is if there's lead in that, in the food you eat, in the soil, in the water, it affects how your brain receives information and processes information. So you are then marked for life, potentially, and how you receive and process information. That's our future being attacked immediately. So we have to do something. We have to do something that will then fix the problem and not just accelerate development in the traditional way in one neighborhood versus the next. We got to build it back up. This is not gentrification. That's the other thing. People get it twisted, like art in the neighborhood, oh, y'all gentrifying. Like, no. You got something to say about it? Gentrification? Do you know what, you know what gentrification is. So like, we won't speak, that's a whole other topic for another day. But this is something else. This is how we should be doing the real work and development and redevelopment. Anything else? We wrapping? Anybody else? To be continued. You should do that.
So obviously, if you've watched this and participated, you have a level of investment and interest that hopefully will catapult into actual engagement. You can go to the Fundred/Chicago website. You can access through the Smart Museum. You can access through Toward Common Cause. There will be a whole host of events and programs being developed, but also just making and creating a Fundred is that time that, what did it take us? Half an hour, an hour to think through it and actualize it. That's some time, but that's time that's considered intentional time to be involved and invested in the project and in these issues. Yeah.
So again, to be continued. We dream into the future. And stay tuned to Mel's initiative towards a common cause, all the evolutions that we're doing with the Civic Arts Church, and we out.